welcome tonight. Welcome to the live Facebook. Martin TF Wong at the Facebook in here. I'd like to welcome all you. How many of you are listening for the first time? If you are listening for the first time, just type 1 there. I really appreciate if you're listening for the first time. Do type 1. Then we would know some things that we can say and a little bit of introduction to also our proprietary apps from our company Trade VSA. Is no other than SmartRobie. A lot of things that we talk about in here, we use it in conjunction with SmartRobie to confirm a lot of things. If you have not installed a copy of SmartRobie, I'll tell you some information where you can download it. But tonight, definitely the picture on that you can see is the tumbling of the House of Cards, the government of the day. And are there opportunity or not in the KLSE market? Or maybe there is a little bit more on the another sector, maybe not so much on political, but maybe political. And how about those sectors which the current Perikatan Nasional in there? What do you think of it? All right, definitely the condition that we see in the KLSE market has been muted. Even today, as I last checked, all right, let me just look at it in here. Our market, okay, didn't look to have gone anywhere much. And let me just check on the what I was looking for. Okay, and the market closed about 2 points down in here. There's a reason for that in here is market don't like uncertainty. Now, if you are listening for the first time, do join our Telegram chat room in here. Use this QR code and join our ever-growing close to about 6,500 members already in here. And we will share a lot of good information that we have for you in here on our research, so you will benefit together with your friends and so forth. All right, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube also. All our recordings and all our past webinars are archived into the YouTube, so you are able to follow it more closely in here. And again, a little bit on our SmartRobie in here, whether it is good to look at the rubber glove sector or the tech sector, which one you can use SmartRobie to tell you whether it is good ratings, buy and sell signals, trading signals, and all those coming you and getting connected with SmartRobie, available on Google Play Store and Apple Play Store. But tonight, meanwhile, this is something to talk about. We have seen the October month, and this is from the CGS CIMB. They talk about the October month seems to be a very positive month. If you look back, the FBM KLCI on average over the 10 years is about 1.5% return and 1.2% over 40 years. What does that mean? It means October month is a month that you should be aggressive. We have seen the last 2 weeks is already October 14. Now, no doubt with the MCO, only selected sectors, and also we have news that likely in November, Supermax and as well as Kosan will be added into the FBM KLCI. That will give a little bit more power, because of the rubber sector, which is really not one of the hot topics in there. All right. So September, because of the moratorium ended 30th of September, we have seen, so somehow the market are subdued, could not move that much because you can see volume drives up a bit here. But we are seeing some movement today, the rubber glove, which I will talk about in here. So a little bit of context for the month of October. We are up 4%. From last year, October 2019, and down 5% in 2018. Something to take perspective of if you are trading. Now, if you look at this chart, let me just bring out here. All right, I'll bring up my laser pointer, right? Okay, so you can see here where I have. So if you're taking at the 4% at the bottom base, we are likely to hit 1550 and 1560 in here. So today we were closing, let me look at it, 1523. So we just got another 25 points more to go. That's about it. And with the breaking of interesting sector, which I will talk about next in here, you'll see very likely we're going to reach that. So October month, what do you think? Has October month been great for you? Have your stock tabang pergi rocket? What do you think? All right. So what do you think? Have your stocks been doing very well for the month of October? Now again, going towards the end of the year, a lot is going to be interesting as I talk about this political. After tonight, you will have a better understanding of the political situation and when likely our market will react. Now, all these are based on the research of my team as well as my experience in the market for the last 10-15 years. So right this right now for this month of October, we are looking 1550, 1560, a little bit more, 3% upside from our base, with just another 25 points to take from that. Now, like it or not, what is really hot right now is the vaccine. We have seen Duo Pharma and Pharma Niaga, all these are moving up. So a lot of the glove makers are doing pretty well in here. Now, if you look at from our trade VSA, what is hot, okay? Now, the hot seems to be the healthcare and technology. Now, if you are already a member of our system in here, you would see that this green here is last week, okay? The dark green is this week. You can see healthcare from week to week has turned more positive to 0.9 and technology to industrial. So this is how our trader are able to follow this from week to week about the hot sectors. I was away for the last 2 weeks, so I did not present this to you. So those of you who are really interested to want to subscribe to our system, we have a great package at the end of this talk in here for you to be able to keep track. But all in all, it's very interesting to see healthcare, technology, industrial product. I think industrial product, some of those who are talking about the plastic like ATA, the Danco, they are moving. What is coming, akan datang, is the construction. You can see construction last week we are in the negative territory, and now we're turning. Now all these sector that you see here, let me just get my pencil here and write it out for you, right? All these sector that you see, energy, REITs, plantation, property, even plantation, right? We have a news about the Chinese today on the breakfast show this morning. We talk about that China, okay, is committed to buy 1.7 million tons, okay, up to 2023, okay. So if you look back on the statistic which I shared with you today, this is plantation, this one here, that is pretty much what China used to buy, but that may change if Biden wins, because Biden might have a friendlier stand, and then China might just buy some more in here as here. So you can see all other sectors in here. The finance are coming back, okay? Finance are coming back. If the finance started to move away, this is where the KLCI, okay? If the finance start to move back to the KLCI in here, that's why we can see October, okay, and November. Okay, November is going to be a dip month, October up month, and then we get a nice December month for the closing. We just have 3 more months to the end of the year. But right now, healthcare, HC, technology, tech, and industrial product. So take note of this. So when you pick any idea that you get normally on the breakfast show, look for these hot sectors, okay? Like they have sectors in the trade idea. So this is how you want to use SmartRobie for that purpose, okay? Use that one. You haven't told, oh, okay, Mike wanted to ask where did I went for cuti, I went to Tanjung Jara, okay? Tanjung Jara in Tengganu. I was very lucky, after I came back the week, then there was a nearby Kuala Terus. That was a case. Tanjung Jara is a very nice luxury thing. It's about 3.5 hour drive over there. Actually, it's nothing over there, to be frank with you. We just sort of, makan and just eat, and we went down to Kuala Terengganu city, okay, for that one year. But what to do, cuti Malaysia, right? Actually, I'm supposed to fly to Bali next week, I booked the air ticket, and guess what? Air Asia sent me a cancellation then, so I'll probably have to cancel. I think the earliest will be next year August we're able to fly in. And if you look at in terms of the COVID availability, now this week we have heard that the ambassador met up with the foreign minister Hishamuddin, and they were talking about vaccine and also palm oil. By the time we get it, 6 months and the border open. But just now I heard Singapore and Japan are opening up to have inter-travel where they don't need to do the 14-day travel. But right now, the pandemic is still in the midst of it, and I'll do a bit of reporting also on the local one, okay? So AA got refund to you, Martin. No refund lah. They ask you to postpone, they give you 434 days, 436 days, more than a year to push forward. You all know Air Asia, right? They are selling, practically your data for a loan of 1 billion, and the MOF also refused that. But I think, if you can tolong sikit, we tolong lah. It's okay lah. I still need to go to for holiday, cuti Malaysia lah. So last year I did many holidays just in ASEAN. I like to go up to Europe. Usually I do that And having said that, I really miss the long travel. Oh, even my children is also saying missing the airport food. Okay, so I hope you all can do your cuti Malaysia after the lockdown. You can go over to Janda Baik. I was in Janda Baik last week, and there was a nice place called Embun Restaurant. Just check it out, Embun Restaurant. Very nice. You need to do a booking. They have a nice restaurant just overlooking the pool and the area in there, and a very quiet one. Actually, we spent almost a whole afternoon. Very nice weather. Just type it out, Umbun Restaurant. It's a luxury villa and kind of cafe over there. Okay, so that's more for my personal side of it in here. Okay, let's move on to the more interesting news on the foreign funds flows. Now, for those of you who are members, you will know foreign funds flows. And surprisingly, we did not do for 2 weeks. You can see the green one that we see here, we are seeing foreign funds flowing in. All right, the foreign funds are flowing in here, and you can see the market is really making up. So it actually coincides what I've just said. The October month, the foreign funds coming in. You can see the selling are tapering off, and let's see probably tonight. Tomorrow what we get, we have many occasions. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, but once this buying becoming more intensive, you see KLCI go up. So this is actually a good sign. And also in addition, in November, I talk about where this Supermax and also Kosan be added in, then the KLCI composite is heavier, I think within maybe 4 or 5% towards rubber glove and healthcare sectors in there, because they're going to remove I think Genting Malaysia and Genting Berhad out from the KLCI because it's one of those non-performing in there. So very good news. Foreign funds are coming in right now. Okay, now another news which I shared with you somewhere back in September when we have the market correction. I did talk about this very extensively, where one of the economists at Yadinda talks about, the market correction 10 to 15% was healthy, and our market did correct almost 10% in here. So that was September. Right now in the midst of October, they are coming up with a new so-called news where they talk about the earnings season, and I just saw JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs today been released. Even the banks, but again, these are all investment banks. They make their money quite different from public banks and the local retail bank. So they do a lot of corporate structures and a lot of IPOs, and the earnings seasons is actually doing very well. 3/4 of the S&P 500 beat earning as forecast for the past 4 quarters, and 85% actually beat it by 20%. So that's pretty good. So you can see that's why the Dow Jones, right, is going to rally. And at the same time, we're going to have Biden and Trump. You can see, been following that, are usually leading to the election. We normally have a very strong rally. We need about 20 days, but the week before, remember, I said it here, the week before leading to November 30, that will be the sell-off. So which means end of October, we'll see some sell-off to November, because a lot of people don't like to put money into the November 3rd election, because when the market opens up, you'll see a lot of volatility for that month. So keep in mind, so October, we see an uptick right now. September, we see a market correction. So with this in mind, that will pretty much get you into the right trend per se. Now, if you look at the Dow Jones that we've seen in here using our weekly chart, right? Dow Jones is set to test 2,900 right now. Just now I just saw was up another 40 points. You can see two things will happen in here. Here it will form a double top. Okay. Usually it does. You'll hit here, it'll come back down. Okay, because this is a weekly chart, so it's possible they hit here in end of October, all right, and then you'll correct back in the first week of November, okay, 2020. Reason is because we have the 3rd November election, okay, and leading 1 week before that, usually we see a sell-off in here. So that's what we are seeing there. So what does it mean? It means, if you have something right into end of October, get out 1 week before the 3rd of November, and that's going to be penned out, because a lot of people won't be carrying any position going on. So what they say, they make sense or not? Okay, Chiman today, I must focus and study. Yeah, that's right. QL today X date also must focus and study. Okay, good. Okay, QL also I have. Okay, okay. Let's move on to our next story. Now let's look at the politics that we have so much. So we did about cover of the US politics, and we talk about the current environment, the October month, the foreign funds are coming. So you really have a backdrop. Now, if you've been following me over this last, every Wednesday night, you can see really, you have a sound backing of macroeconomics, the charts, the indicators, all right, reading the trend. You usually should not get trapped also, and because of the right sector that I talked about earlier. What sector now do we talk about? Just now was hot. Can you name those two sectors we talked about which is hot right now? Come on, type it in there. I'll appreciate that. Okay, if you can type it in there, then you're paying attention for that one. So really appreciate you can give me a thumbs up if I'm doing a good job in here, getting you educated at the right time at the right place. Absolutely free. Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's look at the politics of Malaysia. Okay, good. All right, you've been paying attention. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you. So looking at the politics of Malaysia, right now, Muhyiddin is going to come out and say, look, I'm still the Prime Minister, like it or not, until proven otherwise. All right, this is a statement that he stated as soon as our up and coming so-called Anwar Ibrahim came out on September 28 and told the whole world he had this SD declaration that Muhyiddin don't have a majority in the parliament. But Muhyiddin, in the midst of all things, Muhyiddin came out and said, I'm working very hard during this COVID-19 pandemic. So he do know that what Anwar stated is quite true, and we see this Tuesday where Anwar also met up with the king, and many of you have followed that and saying. So right now Anwar said, "Let me help you," but today we have found the palace decided not to meet up with a lot of the leaders, the Amanah, and also the DAP head, Lim Guan Eng. Partly is because he's trying to buy time. All right, of course he can do Zoom and he can meet up, but he's trying to buy time, not to see how they can clear this mess over here. Definitely he met up with Tengku Razali, and there's also another development in here. So right now Anwar is saying that, let me help you to expedite this. Now also last night, I think this morning, UMNO has came out retracting support for Ikatan Nasional. I think that's quite true. So what he's saying, no, you're not going to be a prime minister for long unless you see our list of demands. So which means the prime minister now is being held on ransom. So all this declaration that you see, MCO in Putrajaya and KL, if you think about it, it's all just trying to buy time, right? So making sure people don't go out there. I think many of you would have seen through it why we have a lockdown. No doubt the COVID is still there. But before that, we're going to go back a bit of time. Okay, let's go back a bit of time, back to what day. Can you remember this or not? Can you remember what date was this? This was the big Sheraton move. Remember the big Sheraton move where we talk about February 23rd, right? The big Sheraton move where the big meeting have, and we have two. We have Robin and Batman, which I'll talk about later. So as a result, the Pakatan government sunk after 22 months. Okay, in here you could see the ship sunk because of the Sheraton move in February 23rd. And then came two leaders, okay? So this is like the Batman and Robin. They're running in there. So he wanted to come in and become the Prime Minister, as we have seen. Also the big tussle, we have Tun Dr. Mahathir also resigned at that time. So there was no Prime Minister. Then there's Prime Minister. You can see all those were in February 23rd. And remember, we went lockdown on March 18th. Okay, so that time we have the also the mosque cluster, and fast forward to October 14, we are still in the COVID, and I don't think we're going to get out until we've seen some bit of a virus. So the question was here, Batman was asking, they had some number, but the number wasn't get convincing. So they also play a lot of buying. They were just trying to buy time. They were delaying even the parliament. They have one day meeting in parliament sometime in, I believe it was in July, and they did not meet again. They were not allowed to table the motion of no confidence in there. I think you all may have heard this before. So right now, what we have seen, the government of the Perikatan and Muafakat has only 113 versus the opposition 109. How do you see this breakout? Okay, the breakdown of it. Now, all things being equal, you need to have 111 for majority. So you can see if the government lost 2 votes, it's back to 111, and the other group will have 101. Then you have 222. Then it's going to be a hang government. Any independent party will become super rich because we have all the frogs. But if you look in terms of things, you need above 112, okay, 112, and to become majority. Now, if you look at in terms of the number of seats, Perikatan has 113, Pakatan 91, Warisan 9, Mahathir 5, and Angklet is 4. So that will give you 109 versus the 113, which you saw just now, okay? The 109, so 109 and 113. So you can see just the difference of 4 seats only. So right now we have the UMNO. Now we can see UMNO in here. What's the number there? All right. The number for UMNO you can see here is almost 39. So you have 31 plus 39. And today, remember during the meeting, he said that you have 120. So 31 you add here 1. So what? 100, 40, right? 130. So which means he has UMNO under wrap. I think many of you know that. So what's left is you have the Mosquito Party, which is Bersatu, and PAS it's at 18. Okay, Warisan with the 8 and the 1, that will be 9. So that's more than enough, all right, for that one. Mahathir still undecided for that one. So that's where we are right now in here. But the question is, how long will this government survive? What do you think? Can you think that it will survive? Type it in there. What do you think? How long can this government survive? Right, what we've seen so far with the 103, 102, and then you have Najib. Right now, many people speculated, and I too will speculate. Now, because of the COVID-19, the whole situation is very tricky. Muhyiddin, will do what he did in September 26th, the Sabah election. He will throw a general election. That's right. I think the same thing will also happen here. What do you think? Do you think that we will have an election very soon? Now, on top of that, this is very interesting, is because we have the pandemic, we have these 2 weeks, so a lot of things is still very, very liquid. But like it or not, this government is not going to survive. And that's why the current government, throughout the 2 weeks of MCO, just to freeze everything to buy time while the king tried to negotiate out whether there's a thing, but it is inevitable. So eventually what we're going to get, that this government will likely to dissolve. It's either through the parliament, to the king intervention in here, the consent, then we will abolish it. Then general election 15 is coming, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, either is this going to be before Christmas? Now there's a lot of talk, some of you hear, no election, okay? All right, yes, there's a lot of talk the election might happen on December 22nd or December 27th. Now that is going to depend on how much of the COVID situation, pandemic, is going to be. Because if you don't have this, because at one point you will have the current Anwar team who is really pushing it, and he's going to say, look, right, and I'm going to show you 2 other news we just developed just about 30 minutes ago, right? So the latest news is that even the Tajuddin, one of the Supreme Council, Tajuddin, who's never able to work with PKR, and he won't be surprised if we back Anwar. Of course, even in UMNO itself, there are many factions, okay? You have the Khairi Jamaluddin faction, you have the Zahidi faction, you have the Najib faction, then you have the Kuli, so there are many factions inside here. And again, Tajuddin Abdul Rahman is also another faction that he's backing out. And also Kuli just sent out a letter, and this letter actually backdated, and this from Malaysia. Now he's urging Harum Ad, okay, which is actually a Muhyiddin Macai, okay, he was a Muhyiddin Macai, and the last time they wanted to table, especially Dr. Mahathir wanted to table, he is not able to do so. So they got 3 avenues. They will table it in the parliament, they will go through it through the Agong, all right, and another one is through peer pressures, all right, which is the market ongoing. So we can see right now that is going to give the mandate back to the Rakyat. That's right. But again, the question will always be, can PKR, all right, work with UMNO, which UMNO hate DAP, but DAP have to work together. You can see it, right? So this is very interesting. It's very liquid. So the dynamics, how UMNO and DAP are able to work, it's as good as anybody guess. All right, can you imagine Lim Guan Eng in here? But everyone is talking but Kuli there's a little news that says if this deal will run through, Cooley will become the Deputy Prime Minister. How many believe that? All right. Deputy Prime Minister will be Tengku Razaleigh. All right. TH. Tengku Razaleigh will be then the Prime Minister will no other than Anwar. Okay. They're not going to have any Chinese or non-Malay to hold very senior position, because this is still going to pretty much dominate. And I think that could be the right thing. They will seek for reform, right? But the government will be rich. And this is really a new game. This is unprecedented. So there is a part 2 to this talk in here. But let's move on. Okay. So this is what we have seen. So sugarcane all for the goodies. That's right. So let's go back to the Sabah election and why Muhyiddin throw that. Now it all started with Musa Aman, right? You know about Musa Aman, which is the Sabah ex-chief minister. He was acquitted of all the 42 charges in here, and he came in, and then Shafi'i came out and decided to throw it. So if you look at the Gagasan Riots Sabah, you can see the faction that they have. If you look at this compared to the Warisan, which Warisan a bit more organized, So you can see the Warisan Plus has 46, 12 DAP. So if you look at it, you will definitely know, hey, how can Gagasan beat the Warisan? But the news came out, right? But there was a peer pressure for Muhyiddin to prove that he is still the boss. So he pushed for the Sabah, and there you go. We have the COVID-19, right? So I do agree, some of you people already say, right? Why the politics are so dirty and so bad. It's causing economic mishap. It's causing you and me, all our children cannot go to school. It's really, really bad. I can tell you that it's not only happening in Malaysia. In US, it's the same thing. Look at the COVID-19, which is the mismanagement by the Trump administration. And in a way, Malaysia is going through the same period too. So, like it or not, who will win? The politician will win. We as rakyat, to be frank, will lose. So the most we can do is try to capitalize on the stock market. That's what do you say what I think Cooley got any link to stock company? As far as I know, he has some, but not very strong conviction. So Cooley is the UMNO group. So Cooley is a key player because Cooley is seen as an independent. That's why the king want to see him first. So the king said, you jangan kacau-kacau lah. Dah satu kali kacau di February, sekarang mau kacau lagi. He also pening, the king, right? But again, the king had to follow the mandate. He's like a referee lah. The referee in here to make sure two parties really follow in here. But one thing for sure, we know, Tan Sri Muhyiddin, which is the Prime Minister 8, don't have enough support right now. That is the truth. All right. So let's look back at the Gabungan Rakyat Sabah. If you look at it, this is Sabah how the election has won. The Warisan Pass is the blue one, but Gabungan Rakyat Sabah was the blue. You can see all the inward, all the inland, very much similar to US, where the rural area, the Midwest of US, is all Donald Trump punya area. All right, you can see here. But the urban area, is where Warisan and Shafi'i Kautim everything. You can see the Sandakan, the Kota Kinabalu. This is where they were very, very strong on that part here. So usually the case, they say rural area are less educated, it's easier to buy vote, and that's why we see Gabungan had a very strong hold. But also at the same time, Warisan didn't do a good job in the rural area. In the inland, you can see here, this is where the Gabungan so forth. All right. So that's what is happening in the market in here. So when the result came out, there was no surprise, Perikatan Nasional, which have Barisan Nasional, PM and PBS, got 35 seats, okay, and he was elevated and said, hey, this is the one. But you can see this Chief Minister Hajiji, right, was also from the PBS, and he was not in favor of Bung Mokhtar, because Bung Mokhtar has a case on the court, so they were not angry. No, they were angry, sorry, they were pissed off. They did a lot of work. You can see here, right, UMNO win 15 seats, and Bersatu only have 9 seats, okay, Bersatu, but the Chief Minister came from a non-UMNO. See, there were a lot of liability. So the question always asked right now, if Anwar working with UMNO, is that good or not? Because at one point in time, UMNO was also inviting Anwar Ibrahim to come in. So the big getaway was DAP. Will DAP work with it? But by the looks of it, it looks like DAP and Amanah has already to work with UMNO on a fresh mandate, which is still the riot mandate, okay? Yeah, which is still the mandate, but it's going to be a lot of liquid, a lot of movement. I don't know, because with the 2 weeks, so everybody is going to zoom through everybody right now. We are as much as glued to the news is what's happening. But just to show you in here, fact one, the election is going to come. Fact two is that our current Prime Minister don't have the kind of support. And what are the mandates? How are working relationship between the Amanah, DAP, PKR with UMNO? So you can see the seats that we have just now, the 91 seats from Pakatan plus the 39, that makes up 130. That's why on Tuesday, Anwar Ibrahim came in and said, look, I got more than 120 seats, right? Because remember, in UMNO, not everyone is backing up, but there's also 2 seats from past rumor to back Anwar Ibrahim. 2 seats, okay? Although the past leader came in and denied all that, okay? So you have 4 seats in here. So that's the situation that we have in here. Now let's go on to COVID. Now, like it or not, October 6th, we hit a new high of 691, and this was due to the Sabah election, all right? And today, by 6 o'clock today, we also saw 660 cases also occurred in here. So we really haven't tapered off. And also, he's Tan Sri now, Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, he said that the politician failed us. How many of you agree with this statement? Okay, how many of you agree with this statement? Right? The politician were the big ghosts, you know, we say in Chinese. Right? Really big mess, man. Yeah, very messy inside here. So you can see the politicians really failed the people. Although lack of saying sorry, Muhyiddin went in, he said it was unavoidable. You know, you still go ahead. So the next question is, Sabah already caused so much problem, right? Can you imagine General Election 15 happening? Now, whose blame are you going to blame? Are you going to blame it to Anwar now? Because he is the one going to be forcing it to the General Election 15. Or are we going to do what US is doing? We will vote through ballot, mail ballot thing, okay? Because a lot of people don't want to go out, and we will make. So this is, again, will cause a lot of uncertainty to the market. So having said that, our market will just hit 1550 for October and then make a U-turn and come back down again, right? Because we don't know what's going on to the market. And stock market, like it or not, never like uncertainty. So keep in mind, okay? Keep in mind they don't like certainty. And with the COVID, with the Anwar, with the King, all right, with the US election, my God, this is the best of the best. So much, you know, market volatility, but yet, in the midst of everything, the market did not collapse. Interesting enough, right? So usually when you see all this bad news, market tend to hold on, right? So important, watch the market. Don't watch so much the news. No doubt I said, look, if the general election comes in December, the market will take a turn. We don't know yet. Now, this is just sort of plan ahead. Because in volume spread analysis, sometimes what I do scenario planning. If it doesn't happen, what do you do? Right? Because you need to do something with your money anyway. So right now, we have said before, the politician really made a... Now, this is also came out from the Dr. No's Facebook in here. He said that stay at home and keep our cases to R0 at 0.3. We have 660. We've been up there. So if we are currently still at 660 here, then at R 0.3, which is the gray one here, okay? All right, now let me just bring my pen here. Okay, so we want to be here. If you are at R not of 0.3, then our case will drop, will taper off onto 31st of October. If not, on R0 or 2.2, we'll hit 4,005. I think it hit this more. But right now, it's very important. Every day, as I see that number, 690 is the highest so far, 660. So tomorrow, we need to hit 650, 500 and going forward. So this is the scale. But if we hit above 1,000, we're going to go for this. Of course, worst case is 2.2. If 2.2 at 4,005, then when you have an election. So at the same time, they have to make sure if you're going to get a general election 15 by December or very likely December, they say. But if they just sort of our Prime Minister, because worrying he will throw one out like what they did in Sabah, then we'll see in December. If not, very likely it will be next year March or next year February, if the next election. But it's all going to depend on what's going to happen. It's very interesting to say something happened today, but we all really don't know. So stay in tune. Okay, Tan Sri, that's right. Yeah, he's a Tan Sri, Dr. No Hisham Ali. Thank you. Right. And so I will come to you for more updates as we go on. But this is the situation we say presented to you, right? So right now, if you look at the Malay dominant party, there are many options. We also have Pejuang. Okay, this is the Dr. M new party lah. Huh? This is the new one. So we have the UMNO, we have the PAS, we have the PKR, we have the Amanah, which is a spin-off from PAS. PKR, which is a spin-off from UMNO, Pejuang, which is a spin-off from Bersatu. Bersatu is a spin-off from UMNO. Okay, so there's a lot of faction, and if you are a Malay, if any of this party trying to attract you, all right, you have a lot of options depending on the urban area or the rural area and where you sit at. So the Malay but dominant parties is a lot of choices inside in here. So which means a one vote can really be split up. So that's why we have a lot of faction in here. And having said that, so this is the issue we are finding right now. So next slide I want to just share with you in here is we have 4 of this person. Siapa nak jadi Prime Minister angkat tangan, okay? So you have the 4 men of politics, 4 old men of politics in here. You have Najib already in, now he's in the court case. You have Dr. M. You have Muhyiddin, the young Muhyiddin there. And also you have, but don't forget also Muhyiddin has pancreas cancer and recovering. It could be come back at a relapse. So the ability for him to, he said he'd been working really hard for the pandemic. And then you have Anwar. So the question is, will he ever become the Prime Minister? What do you think? Will Anwar ever become Prime Minister? Type it in there. I always like to ask all my audience inside there, will he become the Prime Minister? So type it in there, Anwar for Prime Minister if you think it is. Okay? Okay. PPEC says suspend Parliament and extend MCA market will be stable. Okay. So how many of you think that? Okay, let's type it in there. I just want to know you guys type it in there. How many think that Anwar will become Prime Minister? All right. It looks like it's getting more and more higher chance now as the day progresses. Apa malu bosku? Okay. Yeah. All right, Ken. So how many think he will become the Prime Minister? Okay, come on, type it. Oh, no one thinks he's going to be Prime Minister. Is this true? Okay, right. No, sadly. Okay, no, sadly. Okay. Okay, Anwar, Aman said no, sadly. And like it or not, you know, Anwar as a Prime Minister is not really popular, to be frank with you. I think Tengku Razali scores better than him, right? Unlikely, that's right. No, you see, out of the people say, no one say no, right? Right, a lot of people say no, but yes, okay, there's one yes there. It's like, wow, people who say no is like 8 out of 10, okay? People who say yes, it's like, but Hidop Anwar, that's right. But like it or not, I also think Anwar cannot be the Prime Minister because he has too much baggage behind him. And many people also seen him as something that unexpected. You know, now, right now he's playing the cards right. He has all the party in that now, right? He could be, right now it's a lesser of the two. We really don't know, okay? So thank you for some of you who supported it, but bear in mind, with what I've seen so far, his chance of becoming the Prime Minister, with Tengku Razali being the Deputy Prime Minister, it seems to be very, very likely right now. Okay, so when is G15? I think I'll talk about that one inside here. And this is a photo taken, more recent in the palace. So when is my turn? Okay, so we're going to go down to the political things, okay, right now. So if you look at the political link right now, there isn't much I can find out about it. It's through Ahmad Zerbi Bakar, which is a Dato', and he is more of an associate. I did ask some of our members in here, you know, what does what the kind of relationship does ASB, Advanced Synergy, Berhad, tied to Anwar in this case, right? The sister one is just through Mui Industry, and I believe she's also a very fashion lady, Anwar's sister. right? Mui, we know, owns the Laura Ashley brand, and also the Metro, and another one, the Andrew Koo, which is running the Mui industry, passed on by the father lah, Tan Sri Koo Kei Peng, which is, about 70 plus, so passed on to the son, Andrew Koo, who's running the Metro now. So if you look at here, this is a chart of ASP, okay, Advanced Synergy. So Advanced Synergy right now in here, there's not really nothing much. It's all not going to be a punt, but definitely if you want to trade, you really have to buy at the lower side in here, all right? On the daily chart, it has hit new high. I think this was a new high. Remember, every time when you see huge climatic, right, this is usually what we want to see is chabot, okay? You chabot or you take profit, okay? And low volume, okay? Low volume, you buy. This is the only way to play the game. You have to use hourly chart. Don't use daily chart for that. Daily chart, it looks pretty bad. And as the day progresses, you can see this chart might just come back now. Now, how much of an ASP is linked to Anwar is yet to be seen. Okay. We have one party Pribumi Bersatu, Telok Mas, say no, unprecedented. Okay. So you can see also ASB, run by Datuk Sebi Bakar. They never really make money, to be frank with you. Every year also lose money, man. Or small loss in here, operating 5 million, 12 million. Only this year they sold the Visma Synergy and make a lot more. But their totally sales are pretty good. They own the Holiday Villa. They own the Holiday Villa also in Cherating. They are in the travel business. Even if you visit the website, it's still running on Internet 2.0. Very old-fashioned. They have the SJ Securities, which is actually run by his son. All right, and so fundamentally wise, it's not really that great. Okay, chart-wise. Now, if you look at Mui, and you can see there's also climatic action because a lot of people jump in and decided to buy this. You can see here. This again is distribution. So we do see a lot of distribution in here. All right. So if you want to buy, you really have to buy at the support area. And really looking at the hourly chart. This is a daily chart because Mui again doesn't seem to have some sort. It's just a lot of news driven, this kind of stocks. But if you look at it, it just shoot up. People take profit and they come back down. So you got to buy on low volume. And again, it's really pure speculation, a bit like gambling. So I wouldn't even touch it, and I don't recommend you guys to really touch it at all. A lot of the huge volume spike is on distribution. People get it out. Okay. Now, if you look at the financial of Mui industry, okay, if you can see here, every year lose money, okay, at least better than ASP lah. ASP, they have the broker, the SG broker, Subang Jaya broker, they have the Holiday Villa. But then if you look at Holiday Villa and the Cherating and this one has Coros Hotel. So I think there's some similarity between Mat Sebi Bakar and also Fairizon because they are in the travel and hospitality business inside. So you can see here the net margin continued to go lower and lower. Nothing to be concerned about. So the business dealing Farizon Binti Ibrahim. So mainly deal in retail, hotel, food and confectionery, financial services and property development. Also lose money, lose about what we're talking about there. 100 over 1,000 or 100 million. That's a lot of money to be losing. So it's not a fundamental stocks, okay, having said that. And then if you look at the PMC, right, which is dealing in distribution of cocoa base, again, just making roughly 75 million, not really doing well, also losing money. I just don't know why. When the father passed on to the kids, they don't know, seems to know how to make it. You can see Fundman is not really making money, and that's why you see the chart in here. Don't buy and hold and expect to make a lot, all right? A better alternative on the cocoa, look at GCB, okay, which is funding style. I like to convince you. You can see here we have the confirmed no supply, a very good chart here. GCB is a better substitute, and this is supported at $3.20 in here, right? And it hasn't turned green pentagon yet. And a good fact, if it turned green pentagon, it has a 78% chance of winning. If you look back since 15th April, there were 9 trades. It has a 77 chance. You can see the last round where they had the green pentagon. You can see it's from further back. You made a lot of money in here. So you just need to wait for GCB. And how to do that? Just every day check your GCB after office hours using the green pentagon for that one. Okay. So like it or not, the opportunity on Anwar counter is very limited. That's the bottom line I'd like to share with you in here. And some of you who have know of any other thing, do share with me. I'd like to know that. But like it or not, the really counter that is moving this way, right, is no other than healthcare. Healthcare, ladies and gentlemen. Like it or not, it's going to move. So what are those 5 counters now? Take it down. D Pharma, KLK, so LKL, which is a bed maker. These are very nice setup on line change. You can wait for a pullback, or you can just top glove today also broke Hatta. I have Hatta Lega. D Pharma, I've been talking about it since last week when first turned green rebound Comfort, which is another rubber glove, and Pharma Niaga too. They all are turning up nicely in here. Okay, now why I say this is because, and Notion VTech, they start making face masks. So right now we are seeing the October month becoming bullish, right? The October month becoming bullish. So these healthcare stocks will do better than Anwar counter. Okay, that's my message to you in here. So take a picture of this one in here. It will help you look for the setup and look for the trading plan in here. All right. So if you look at the first one, let's look at the first one, Top Glove. When the Green Pentagon first came out, okay, that was back in 27th September. And the Green Pentagon has a 67% accuracy for looking back at 15th of March. So there were about 12 trades altogether, okay? And next one we have here is D Pharma. D Pharma have a 75%, okay, since 15th of March 2019, looking at 8 trades. So you have a chance of, so every time there's a Green Pentagon, you have a 75% chance of making money, okay? So that's how Robie actually calculates that. So D Pharma is pretty good and looking higher, and the vaccine thing news are in, right? And next one is Notion VTech, and Notion VTech just turned Green Pentagon. You can see here, right? And it has a nice base here, support, very similar, green, right? And a 60% chance of winning with since 15th of March. Again, 10 trades out together. So this Notion VTech looks pretty good too. So check out tomorrow the trading plan of the SmartRobie in here, right? Our daily program, the 9:30 one, my fellow senior trainer Zac always does this. You know, he talks about this yesterday, so you can make sure you join him for more individual stock analysis where we talk about those trade setup. What I want to bring you is to bring the macroeconomics that support the healthcare where we are right now. What happened to UMNO counter? The UMNO counter, to be frank with you, Chandra, it's not much. There's not much on those counter because they are already in ruling right now already. Okay, so when they become, it's very unlikely. The list of demand that we're seeing, we do not know yet. Okay, but don't worry, I will still continue with part 2. Okay, so part 2, Supermax. Supermax is also there, but these are just the counter that I like. Okay, UMNO counter, we will see. We'll talk about the part 2. So when we talk about all those, we are doing our one-day trade VSA one-day course, which is on the 31st of October. Those of you who want to know how to use our tools inside here, our 2 trainers and Coach Arif and also Zac will show you how to understand smart money, identify how to look for those kind of shares, how you can benefit those shares that started to move up in here, and also look at hourly manner in here. Okay, we have our coaches and our trainer, our support. We tried to do Zoom, which we did face-to-face 2 weeks ago for our masterclass, and we did support it through also on our Zoom too in here. And the method we use, those of you who don't know, together with SmartRobie, we use volume spread analysis. This is a method which is pioneered by my Sifu, also introduced to me by Bill Vermine here. So he read a great book, The Undead Secrets that drives the stock market. So what we have seen so far, based on those annual counters we have seen, the volume that you've seen, those are distribution volume. So there's very little edge you want to do inside there, okay? So again, if you want to know how's your scoring of your FA scoring, you can look at ASP, PM. That will simply tell you many of them has very poor rating. So use SmartRobie to check any of those. Same goes for any of those UMNO counter too. All right. So on our member request, I will do the UMNO counter this coming Saturday. All right. So the intake for December 2020, as I said before, we are going through some very interesting months. The December intake for our masterclass will still be on, and do take note of the dates that we have inside here. Okay, so for our next talk this coming Saturday, okay, for our live Facebook will be the part 2 of the change in politics and the impact on KLSE on the post-COVID-19. Today we have a taste on our Anwar counter in here. We will explore more this coming Saturday. So make sure you join me 2 o'clock on Saturday. and we will talk more on the change in politics and the impact of KLSE in our post-COVID-19 recovery in there. All right. So with that, I end my talk tonight. Do subscribe to our YouTube, right? And also bear in mind, we are in very bullish October month, right? Remember, September we have the correction, and US is going through a very good season that will likely to continue. Some of it will fall into it, but as I explained before, those political events I've talked about, they will have a change inside there. So more on that this coming Saturday. Okay. So with that, I close my talk for tonight in here. Those of you who are listening for the first time, do join us in our Telegram in here, and I'll be with you on Friday for our breakfast show. And don't forget, tomorrow night join my colleague Arif for some stock review, and also on Friday to look at some of those stocks that you talked about, Bintang and so forth. With that, good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you on Saturday. Bye-bye.